Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Mary Mac. Today we have another zucchini recipe for you. This is a really great zucchini recipe, possibly the greatest, the GOAT of zucchini recipes right here. This could be it. This is the zucchini chocolate cake. And this is good and healthy because there's zucchini in there. So you can have your cake and eat it too. Ha ha ha.
And we originally talked about this in episode 20. So way back in the archives. But we did 2 zucchini episodes that were constructed around a meal of all zucchini things.
Yes.
So this is just going to be a focus on the zucchini chocolate cake.
Just a focus because it is a classic recipe, I think. It's a pretty old recipe too. And it's such a good one. It's really a good one. And you just don't see it, you know. And the reason I made this, the reason I thought I would record this podcast is because I had all this zucchini and I was going to make zucchini bread. And as I was shredding up the zucchini, in the back of my mind, I thought, you know, I don't even really like zucchini bread all that much. I mean, I'll eat it, but I don't really like it all that much. What I really like is that chocolate cake. I'm making that chocolate cake. And then I did. And so now I've made this week 3 zucchini chocolate cakes. And we've eaten a lot of zucchini chocolate cake.
At a certain point, at how many cakes does the chocolate cake part of it outweigh the health benefits of zucchini?
Well, you know, chocolate, as I have said my entire life, chocolate is a legume. I don't know if it is or not, but I just say that.
Because I mean, it's cocoa beans.
It's a bean. It is a bean. And beans are healthy and good for you, right? Everybody always says you should eat more beans because of the fiber. Beans are good for you. So this is how I justify everything in my life. I lie to myself like this all the time. But
and you can too.
And you can too. If you listen to this podcast, I will teach you how to lie to yourself and make it convincing. Oh my gosh. But this is a really good chocolate cake recipe. Now there are 2 eggs in this cake, but there is no dairy in this cake at all. And this would be a very easy cake to make egg-free also by using Bob's Red Mill egg substitute. Would work perfect in this. So if you have an egg allergy or you don't eat eggs or you want to make a vegan cake out of this, it's very easy to sub in. If you are really concerned and you want to take some calories out of it, you can also, and I've done this before, this cake calls for oil, a half a cup of oil, and you can sub in a half a cup of apple sauce. You can sub in a half cup of applesauce instead of the oil, and it makes it denser and a little sweeter, but it's really good. So I would say that this is a cake that you could fiddle around with a little bit and make it your own again. It's a very good cake. It also makes a good cupcake, which would be probably more like a muffin-y kind of a texture because it's kind of heavy. Also, this cake does not need icing at all. You could put a little powdered sugar on it. You could put whipped cream on it, but it does not need an icing. You could put an icing on it if you wanted to, but it is absolutely not necessary.
It's very good as a snack cake. You do not need a fork to eat this cake.
No.
All you need to do is, well, I guess you don't even need a knife to eat this. Just break off a hunk of cake in your hand, shove it into your face.
Stick your face.
Have a great day.
Shove your face down into that cake pan and start gnawing.
Yes. It holds together very well, I guess is what I'm saying. It has a very snack cake consistency.
Yeah.
So it is moist, it is soft, but you can hold it. You can just hold a piece of it, you know.
Yeah, and this isn't also, you know, a lot of times you'll see these zucchini or other vegetables or fruit that you're adding to cake to kind of take up some volume or whatever. This is not a nominal zucchini amount. This is 3 cups of shredded zucchini, so it's a good amount of zucchini in here too.
It's zucchini is the first word in this cake title because that is the most
thing. This cake famously, when Anna was really little, I made this one time, and I sometimes I peel the zucchini so you don't see the green in the cake, you know, from the skin. I didn't on this occasion, and Anna saw the green in her cake and screamed, "Why is there a big green worm in my cake?" And then she would never eat it again. So I had to start peeling the zucchini before I shredded it. So this is a thing to think about with your own children.
It's a valid concern.
If you don't want your children to think there's a big green worm in their cake.
You never know. You see all these books about the hungry caterpillar. There's a big green worm in the apples. There's a green worm in the cake.
Yeah. You just don't want your kids to throw your kids into a cake-hating panic. Nobody wants that. So you might want to peel your zucchini. But however you do it, this is a good recipe. And this is also one of those that's good for using the big zucchini. Like if you have a massively large zucchini that you missed in your garden, this is a good one for that too. So here we go. Here is your zucchini chocolate cake. You will need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 cup of cocoa, a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips, 1 1/3 cup of sugar, 3 cups of shredded zucchini, 2 large eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and a 1/2 cup of canola oil. So here we go. First, you want to get a 9x13 pan and grease it to prepare it. And you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. The first thing on the agenda is to prepare your zucchini. So if you have like a very large zucchini, like I said, you can take that, cut it in half, remove all the seeds. I usually remove the seeds unless it's a very small zucchini, because then you don't have all that pithy stuff in there. Split your zucchini in half, remove the seeds, peel if desired, and then shred it on the larger opening of a grater. I used my food processor and I used the larger holes on the grating plate, and I shredded my zucchini for that. And I used 2 medium-sized zucchini, and I did take the seeds out of them. So it took the 2 medium-sized zucchini with the seeds removed, made a little more than 3 cups. Now you got your zucchini ready. So the first thing you want to do is put your flour, baking soda, salt, cocoa into a large bowl, and you want to mix that with a whisk until it's well blended. Then add the chocolate chips, because remember, if you coat add-ins with flour, they'll float in your cake. They will not all be on the bottom, they'll
be distributed fairly evenly.
Yeah, they distribute so much better. Okay, now that's your dry ingredients. For your wet ingredients, you're going to mix. I did this in a large size bowl because we're going to add the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. So I actually used one of my great big large bowls for this. So you want to mix your 1 1/3 cup of sugar, 3 cups of zucchini, 2 eggs, and beat those up and then add them, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and a 1/2 cup of oil, and mix those all really, really well. Then you're going to add your dry ingredients and mix those in really well until they're very well incorporated and the batter is reasonably smooth. Okay, and just mix these by hand with a wooden spoon, and you can use a rubber scraper to get everything scraped down from the sides. Now take your pan, your 9x13 pan that you have greased, and scrape your batter into your pan or scoop it into your cupcake forms. And just scrape your bowl out really good with your rubber scraper. And then this batter is very dense, so you'll want to take your rubber scraper, and what I usually do is kind of like put it up on its side and move the batter to make sure the zucchini moves with it. So you're not just pushing the liquid batter out to the sides and leaving piles of zucchini in the middle. So try to kind of distribute it around a little bit there and level it out in the pan. Once you have that done, you can put this into the oven, and this takes 30 to 35 minutes to bake, and it's going to take that full amount of time. You'll want to test it after 30 minutes. It will test done. You can also press lightly in the middle, but another thing it'll do is it'll pull away from the edges of the pan when it's getting done. So if you've ever seen a cake do that, this is one of those cakes. Mine, in my oven, it took 35 minutes every time. And then what you want to do is just cool it in the pan, of course. And this doesn't need icing, but once it gets down to where it's like warm, like it's not too hot, but it's warm, it's perfect. And this is really good. Cut a square of this and serve it with whipped cream. It is delicious. Unfortunately, we forgot that we had whipped cream in the refrigerator last week, and we ate it with nothing. So that's why I had to make this other cake, because I was like, oh my gosh, I found whipped cream. I have to make another cake. So I did.
And then, okay.
I probably
So
need
is
counseling
the
of some
cycle,
sort, huh?
I have extra whipped cream, so I need to make a cake to use it. Oh no, I have leftover cake. Let me go buy some whipped cream to use up the cake. Oh no, I have whipped cream, and it's just a constant cycle.
I think you may be onto something here. You may be onto something. You've saved me hundreds of dollars in counseling.
You're welcome.
I don't know how to stop the cycle, though. I don't know how to break the cycle.
I think the only way to break the cycle is make one of those 8-inch round cakes instead of a 9x13, because it's only half as much.
Well,
but then you wouldn't have as much cake and ice cream and joy in your life. So that's the thing.
And you'd have to kind of like, if I could only get the cake and ice cream, or the cake and whipped cream, ice cream also.
It's
but if you
great
get them
with
to
ice cream.
run out at the same time, that's tricky. Like sometimes what I probably should do is, like, if I'm getting close, is maybe have a small piece of cake with a whole lot of whipped cream on it.
I mean, you could do that, but do you want to end the cycle? Because it sounds fun.
That's true. Never mind. Okay, we'll just keep it the way it is. Why screw up a good thing, right? Why screw up a good thing? Oh my gosh. But that's it. That is all there is to the zucchini chocolate cake. And like, when you're shredding up your zucchini, I think I've said this before in other episodes that we've done. If you say that you really like this recipe and you want to freeze some zucchini, freeze your zucchini in 3-cup packages. Because then all you'll have to do is, take that out and thaw it and drain it, and you can put that in your cake. See, you always have to be thinking. You have to think when you're doing stuff.
It's the same thing as if you have bananas that you're freezing because they get overripe. Freeze them in containers that are the amount you need for your recipe.
Right. You have to be prepared for like an emergency like this.
Always be prepared for a cake emergency.
Right. Always be prepared for a cake emergency.
And that emergency is, I need cake.
Do we have anything we can make a cake with? What can we make a cake with? Well, I have the zucchini.
Check the freezer.
I have the zucchini here. So remember, when you're shredding up your zucchini, a small zucchini will make maybe like 1 to 2 cups of shredded zucchini. A medium, you might get, depending on it, if you seed it, like I said, if you seed it, it cuts down the amount you get out of it. So you might take like 2 medium zucchinis would make 3 to 4 cups of shredded, so if you wind up with extra, don't panic, because you can always make another cake. So don't panic, right? You should never panic. Always buy 2 containers of whipped cream so you don't run out. So you don't run out before you run out of cake. Always buy 2 whipped creams. 2. Remember, these are helpful tips that I try to bring to you.
Helpful tips
to make your life easier and happier. Are you happier yet? I am. So there you go. There's your zucchini chocolate cake. And enjoy a few before the zucchinis end. Like if you really, this is the thing though.
If a neighbor leaves a bunch of zucchini on your porch, make some cakes.
And then take them a cake.
Yeah.
And say, yes, Smarty, I have to leave zucchinis on my porch.
Hey, oh my gosh, it's like the Trojan horse of baked goods.
Yeah, there you go.
They don't think you're leaving zucchini on their porch, but really.
I made you a cake. Here, I made you this cake.
Are you trying to leave a zucchini on my porch? Oh, I would never. I brought you this nice cake.
And
it's full of zucchinis.
And this container of whipped cream. There you go. Well, I hope you make this cake, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we do, because we love it.
And make sure to check us out online on Facebook and Threads at Mary Mac Bakehouse, on Instagram at Mary Mac Bakehouse and Mary Mac Podcast, and on our website, marymacbakehouse.com.
Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you.